Okay, we've got week 4, day 1, identifying the root cause. The focus here is to gain an understanding of a problem, um, and then to really identify and drill down into what the root cause is. I'm surprised by this one consistently because more often than not, my sort of preconceived notion approach, or when I'm speculating as about the root cause of a problem, especially if it's more of a personal one or it's something that's really eating at me, I'm actually not all that accurate just right off the cuff. Um, I go through this process myself and get a lot from it. So let's kind of dive right in. So we've got kind of choose a problem or challenge. Again, kind of like in other weeks and tools that we've been learning, maybe don't go for a home run right away. Like, let's practice this. So try something that not benign, but it's not overwhelming our resources. It's within our wheelhouse, or at least it feels that way. So ask ourselves, why is this happening? And write down your initial thoughts. So for each answer that you've given in those initial thoughts, ask why again, and then why again, and why and why and why, up to 5 different times. This can feel a little redundant. It can feel a little frustrating even, of like, why am I keep doing this? That doesn't count as one of your questions, by the way. So kind of continue that process until you really get to a place where why isn't necessary. Be like, oh, there it is. Then we kind of do some of our testing. So we look back at the root cause that you've identified. Are any feelings coming up for you when you think about this, when it happened in the past? Do you see this as any pattern or recurring theme in other areas of your life? Use your tools here. Use the feelings wheel to kind of go, how am I feeling after having identified this issue, this cause? What was I feeling in the moment? All good ways to approach this question here. So now that you've identified the root cause, we move on to planning. So think about what steps you can take to address it. This is where we get to be creative. This is where we get to show some of our imagination. And then we can kind of start addressing it. I like it because it doesn't just leave us at reflect. This is about taking action and making some changes. I like to think about changes in sort of a, in software engineering, there's this idea called a minimally viable product, meaning what's the absolute least that you can do that still creates a product that's viable. We're not creating a product here, but maybe a minimally viable solution. What's the least amount of effort that it can take to make a change here? Let's not swing for the fences right away. Let's hit a single and get on first. So think about your approach that way. What's the least effortful thing that I can do that's going to affect the sort of changes that I want to see? And moving on to day 2.